What is up, guys? Did I just buy an H3 Hummer for under 3 grand? Yes, I did. Kinda. We'll get to that in a second here. But I'm gonna tell you about my H3 Hummer, what I like about it, what I hate about it, gray areas. So let's get into it. If you're looking at buying a Hummer, because they're cheap right now on Facebook Marketplace, buy them all day for under 3 grand, pretty easily right now. But are they worth that money? Can you daily use one every day? Would you want to? How much gas do they use? And are they cool? So guys, I'm gonna tell you the 2 top things I don't like about this H3 Hummer. And not in any particular order, because they're both kind of equally annoying, but I would say this is the most annoying one, are the windows. Now you see this window, you're like, oh Hayden, that's a normal window, it's not too bad. But it is. The visibility in this Hummer is by far like the worst thing about the vehicle. And you know, daily driving that every day, in my opinion, that's probably like, could lead to an accident, which I would say is annoying. The visibility is just not great. Like if you could barely stick your head out this window, it's bad. Like if you had to go through a drive-through and get an extra large drink, probably wouldn't fit through. It's not something I'm a huge fan of. Also, I apologize for the rain noise. As you can see, we're filming at Lake Erie today, and it is just hammering rain. So if you're wondering what that noise is, it's the rain. All right, let's get out of the vehicle, and I'll show you my second least favorite thing about it. I do have a full-size spare tire, which is right there under that cover. It's okay. I got some 37-inch tires on here. You're probably not going to be able to hear this audio. We're just going to go with it. Do a little walk around. $2,000 Hummer. Added a winch. And it's on 37. Alright guys, you probably can't see me too well, but the second least favorite thing about this Hummer, well, should be the third, we'll hop back in the car here, would be the rust. These things like to rust. And I mean, it's a concern. So if you're buying one, definitely look underneath it, all over it, look for rust. These things are prone to rusting, and once a vehicle starts rusting, you know, there's nothing you can really do about it. So definitely look into that if you're planning on purchasing one. How much rust does it have, and factor that into the price. Definitely do that. All right, the next thing I'm gonna tell you about this vehicle is the sunroof. And this one has a pretty big sunroof. It's really nice, honestly. It's almost as good as a convertible. As you can see, it'll open up and it works good. It is raining out, or sleeting. You'll read about this vehicle that sunroofs are a problem for these. My sunroof's been pretty good. I haven't had any issues with it. My biggest 2 things would be the windows, can't see out of it good, and then the back tailgate, how that opens to the side. I don't like that, and the rust are like the 3 big things. And I'll show you some minor things here. All right, so as you can see, there's an aftermarket radio in there, but all of these lights were burned out when I got it, and it's been converted to LEDs. These, like the gauge instrument lights, have been stellar in that one, and just these 2 work over there. But overall, that's pretty nice. But that is a minor concern. And then the dashboard, if you plan on leaving stuff up there like sunglasses, they can fall off, but that's an easy enough fix. I wouldn't lose sleep about it. You do have a temperature sensor up there for the vehicle. And then that's just a buffalo I added to my roof because I thought it looked cool. All the windows go up and down. There's decent storage in here and over there, and the glove box is decent. There's mud in this thing. It's been, just got back from wheel and trip, like I said. Also, I'm going to show you something else. So you got to plug a cigarette lighter in here. This one has been a little modified, so, and you got to pull it out. It'll try to pull this bezel off with it if you're not careful. Minor concerns there, but that would be what I don't like about this vehicle. And some of them are, you could fix them, and some of them not so much, but I wouldn't let that stop you from buying it if it's what you want. It feels like I'm a news anchor, and it's just going to be sound, so I apologize for that in advance. But these are 37-inch tires. This does not have a lift kit in it. I cranked the keys just a little bit, and I went with it. Lights from the factory, and I did add a 12,000-pound winch, which is in there. There's the connections for it. I can't see it, and it just a hideaway winch, so it hit that nice. It's It's got skid plates underneath it. I mean, this thing is set to go off-road. It is very nice for that. Sorry guys, the DNR just drove by and I got scared. So I went back into the car. Also, this thing has a locker, which is cool too. A rear locker right there. You gotta turn the traction control off. It is a 4x4, it's in all-wheel drive all the time. You can't put it into two-wheel drive. But this does have a locker, which I would say this would be like comparing to like a Jeep. Probably like a Wrangler is what this would compare to, you know? Maybe in the comments if there's a closer vehicle you think this would compare to, but for the money, like this is way cheaper than a Wrangler of the same year. Like Wrangler's probably like 3 times the cost. And these are all over Facebook Marketplace, so you can pick them up pretty cheap. Talk about is fuel economy, and what I got just driving around, this isn't like scientific or anything, this is what I got. But I am a doctor in New Jersey because I dropped out of medical school, which is a fact. So you can trust me. Don't question that at all. I get around 15 to 17 miles to the gallon in this H3 Hummer, and sometimes it'll dip as low as like 10 if you're going off-road all the time or bombing this down to back roads. But I would say somebody who would buy this, I would say goes hiking on the weekend. You probably have kayaks, you do stuff with it, so you're going to use it to go off-road and explore. Probably what Subaru drivers do is what you're going to lightly do in your H3 Hummer. Love you Subaru drivers. Anyways, so I would expect that your average would be like 15, but that's also turning these 37-inch tires that weigh 150 pounds each with the rim on them. So this is pretty good fuel economy out of the inline 5. And that's what I want to talk about, the inline 5. So this is a 5-cylinder and it's straight down the row. And my driving is, it's not the most powerful engine, but it's definitely not bad. My biggest gripe with it would be a throttle response time. If you hit the gas in traffic, it takes a while for that engine to spool up, and it's a little noticeable. If you have like a luxury sports car and you go to this, you'll notice it. But if this is your first car, you'd never know the difference. And the inline 5 is not bad in this vehicle, but this thing has a really low gear ratio, 456 gear ratio. And from what I understand, all Hummers have that gear ratio. And to put that in layman's terms, imagine you have a pedal bike and it's in the first gear you're starting out in. That's what this basically is. So it's not the fastest vehicle out there, but it definitely has enough power for what it is. I don't really have any gripes when it comes to power. It can turn these 37s no problem. If you're gonna haul a super heavy trailer with your H3, that would probably be a different story. These H3s do like to run a little warm, so you're gonna have to upgrade your clutch fan, but it can be done. I'm not saying to do it, but you could do it. Don't do it though. You didn't hear that from me, don't do it. But you could do it. Man, the winter hurricane is really hitting hard today in Pennsylvania. Look at that. There's a little pterodactyl struggling to fly. Fly, little birdie, fly. Okay, last but not least, I know you guys wanted to know about it. Cup holder usability. All right, try to get that in line. We have a large Wendy's cup, fits in there pretty good. And then we have a hydro flask, which if you don't have a hydro flask, it's your pour. So let's see, hydro flask moves around a little bit, definitely usable. The second cup holders, it wouldn't go in there at all, but the large Wendy's drink does fit. So it's a good vehicle for that. There's the gear shifter, it's right down there. Also, we're not having any mics out, and it is just hammer rain. So without you guys seeing my license, it's this back door. It should open up or down, but not to the side. Anytime you're in a parking lot or trying to get in and out of the vehicle, like you wanted to pull something in and out, this will hit a car, the wall, get backed up to, you can't open it. My least favorite thing. I know they had to do that because of how the tire is, but I just don't like it. I wish they would have did like a split tailgate or something along there. And this back window is like unusable if you're really trying to back up. Definitely want to add a backup camera. That's what I did. There's a little storage here too. That's where the tire jack is, the tire iron. The back seat, I got just back from a wheeling trip. The back here, there's a good bit of room here. I got traction board, seat, chainsaw tools. This is very roomy inside for like the size of this vehicle. Just the windows are not big. I don't like the way they did that. And this is where the Pilot sits. As you can see, the steering wheel is a nice, simple design. It's similar to a Colorado of this era, I would say. There's no buttons on the steering wheel. You gotta do it all manually over here, like they did in the olden days. You don't have any instant fuel economy or anything like that up there. Mine's saying service everything because the vehicle's off right now. But trust me, it works. This thing would fire right up. Headlights, you got a little dial there, fog light switch. And then I think this is for some kind of ancient OnStar phone system. And this is to turn the dome lights on and off, dim gauge lights and everything. And you don't have any dome lights up here. They're in the back. Map lights, whatever you kids want to call them. You do have the sunroof though. So I would say if you're in a parking lot, the sunroof lets in so much light you don't need it. And then the mirror, it's not backlit or anything fancy. Oh, there I am. And I already talked about that. The other thing, I'm not going to play any music through it because I don't want to get any copyright issues, but the sound system in this thing is pretty nice. Factory run, you have 6 speakers, 1 in each door, and then you have 2 tweeters on the dashboard. And there's a subwoofer in the back. So there's what, 7 altogether? But I wouldn't count the subwoofer, so you got 6, and then you got the subwoofer as 1. So it's a pretty decent sound system actually. It's definitely like, you wouldn't know that this is what, 17-year-old vehicle from how good this sound system is. And I'm sure, well, I changed the radio out, but it's the speakers I didn't do anything with, and they sound amazing. So the Hummer did a very good job setting that up. These are the controls to move the mirrors. Okay, and this is the last thing I'm going to touch base on this video most likely, is parts. Is it hard to get parts for an H3 Hummer? And answer that question is no, but question mark. So this Hummer mainly uses Colorado and Canyon parts, the GMC Canyon and the Chevy Colorado. It has a lot of similarities with those vehicles. It also has a lot of similarities with the Chevy Trailblazer and Chevy Silverado of those eras. I mean, it took the same radio, a bunch of parts from those vehicles. And then it does have stuff that is only similar to an H3 Hummer, and then the ZR2 Colorado, which is the one that they lengthened, if I'm right. No, right, the off-road version of that one. It had some similarities with that. So, in layman's terms, I would say parts mechanically for this thing are pretty common. I've never seen a Hummer at the junkyard, but it took a lot of different parts. But Hummer exclusive stuff like the door panel or the seats or something, you're probably gonna have a hard time finding like that. If you just needed a Hummer seat, buying a new one's probably not gonna happen. You're probably gonna have to go on Facebook Marketplace and find one would be your best bet. It can be done. I would just say it's not as common as like a Camry to find a part for it, like a Toyota Camry. But it's not that big a deal, and honestly, you don't go out and buy a seat every day. So you'll be fine, most likely. Would I buy an H3 Hummer again? And to answer your question is, yes, I would buy it. I don't think that they're worth like $60,000 or some crazy amount. But definitely for like under $3 with a locker, if you can find with a locker, it's a sweet off-road rig. You could daily drive it. I recommend putting in a backup camera to it. Would be the first modification I would do to one. But definitely a great vehicle. And I would say, in my opinion, it's worth the money. And horn is in the steering wheel. And then this is the parking brake. I'm sorry guys, it's so muddy. And then here's the brake and gas pedal. Like I said, this thing's normally not muddy. I just took it off-roading. That is to release the parking brake. If you push that pedal down. And this is the hood release, which I'm not going to hit. Vent, defrost, and then that's the speaker on the dash I was talking about right there. And then I know, you guys wanted to know, will this go in the snow or mud? And I will put some videos of this thing bombing through the mud and snow because I know you want to see it, and you better watch it. Okay guys, last thing I'm going to talk about is second row comfort. There's no third row on an H3 Hummer. And there's a bunch of crap in here, but we'll clear out one side here and I'll show you. There's a bunch of mints in here. It's decent. It is not as bad as what you'd think. This is a very small vehicle, so it's not that bad, but yeah, pretty good. And it is just a rainy day. I apologize for the wind noise here in Pennsylvania, but yeah, overall, I mean, it's all muddy, but it looks different than any other vehicle out there. It definitely, you know what it is. It does have a 7-slot grill like a Hummer. I mean, like a Jeep would. It does look a little bit like a Wrangler, but it's definitely its own thing. Really cool vehicle, and definitely for under 3 grand, why not pick one up? Also, this is what the roof looks like. Mine does have a roof rack on it. It has a CB antenna. They do have rear windshield wipers. I think it's an 11-inch blade. Just overall, a really cool vehicle. Out here in Hawaii, it's always hills of Pennsylvania, really. It's always raining, so I apologize for the wind noise. But yeah, hey, let me know what you guys think if you have an H3 Hummer, what I didn't touch on, what I did wrong, if you'd like a more in-depth video about one, or anything like that. Leave a comment. I appreciate to hear the feedback. I definitely don't read every comment I get, so make it a good comment and I might read it. If you guys want to know what Presque Isle looks like in the middle of December, right before Christmas, this is what it looks like. I'm sure you guys wanted information on that. Really windy, but it's better than snow, I guess. A nice calm day on Lake Erie with my H3 Hummer. You can kind of see it. So now I'm going to tell you about my relationship with Hummer and if I'm being paid by them or anything like that. And the answer is no. Hummer's not paying me anything to say anything about their vehicle. I bought this with my own money, so I can say whatever I want about it. And I don't even think Hummer's a company anymore, so I doubt they'll come and try to sue me. But don't.